He's a former commercial property manager and now a successful realtor with deep community ties. Now, Michael LaFargue is challenging Ninth Ward Alderman Anthony Beale, who has close ties to Mayor Rahm Emanuel. I'm Mike Fouché, and this is Aldertrack's Meet a Chicago Candidate series. Tell me, Michael, what's driving you to run for alderman?
Well, I've been very active in the community for many years. I'm the president of the West Chesterfield Community Association. I care for the community. I'm a member of the Rosemore Community Association, Southeast Environmental Task Force. I'm a member of the Young Barack Obama's Developing Communities Project, which I'm very proud of. I'm on the Red Line Oversight Committee and their Property and Business Development Council. I'm also on the Chamber of Commerce of the Far South Side Chamber for Halsted Street. And very importantly, the schools in our ward, 70% of them are on probation. So I'm a newer member of the Far South Side Community Action Council, and there's more.
Mm-hmm. So what out of all that, you've been active for all this time, what drives you to actually be alderman?
Well, I believe it's time for change, simply. The community is thirsting for economic development and jobs throughout the entire ward, and that is something that we're working on right now. We're working on and expect to have the Red Line extended to Oakdale Gardens. We have panels of development that will build out each station, the businesses around each station, called transit-oriented development. That's probably a $2 billion to $4 billion project, depending on who you talk to, and 2,000 jobs to 4,000 jobs. And we want to retain as many of those jobs in the community. We have the Far South Michigan Avenue Business Strip, which we envision as Magnificent Mile 2, if we can coin a term. And there's great visions for that. Also, we have great ideas for Riverdale, an area that has 61% unemployment. There's jobs that we can develop around a water reclamation plant using not potable water, but other types of water purified for maybe database cooling centers, textile operations, and there's a number of other ideas for that area, which is really needs help, and they're a wonderful area with talented people. So I'm very excited about economic development, jobs, working with the schools and improving our schools, and also improving the public services. As a former IBMer, we're customer oriented, and our aldermanic office and our constituent services will work to return phone calls and provide the best constituent services that we possibly can.
Would you consider yourself an Emanuel, Garcia, Wilson, or Fioretti supporter?
Well, I've been in contact with all of them. Alderman Fioretti has attended our June Community Association meeting. I was just was at a number of Christmas events with Mr. Garcia. He went to St. Rita. I went to Quigley South, and we have a lot of ties. He's a great man, a very honest person. Bill Doc Walls and I were just on the phone Sunday, and I just got off the phone with Willie Wilson's campaign manager. So we'll be inviting all of them to our next community meeting at the first week of February.
But no commitments, and
no
you don't
commitments
see yourself
at this time, but good relationships.
Mm-hmm. So most sitting aldermen would say ward maintenance is one of their top issues, one of the things that occupies most of their time. And you list a lot of things that are about taking care of jobs in the community. But if there was a citywide policy issue that you would adopt, what would it be?
Well, in our community, ward maintenance is a huge issue. As you're aware, we have a number of crime issues. If you look at the police statistics, or depending on what chart you look at, Roseland is number 8 on the chart as far as crime, homicides, and other types of crime. West Pullman has challenges, and then we have the Riverdale area. When a street light goes out or a block of lights go out, our senior citizens, our community members want immediate service. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's one major issue.
But what would be your major policy or citywide policy issue if you had one?
Well, I'm for participatory governing. Mm-hmm. The aldermen have menu money or infrastructure funds of $1.3 million. We will engage in participatory budgeting so that the community can make the decisions on where to invest their funds. Mm-hmm. Also, there will be aldermanic community councils in our ward in areas where people are passionate on education, police, economic development, community development. Citywide, we have many challenges. We have the pothole issues, we have the pension issues. I am for an elected school board. I definitely am for our retirees retaining their pensions. That's a promise. A promise is a promise. A contract is a contract. People plant their lives around that, and we must maintain our communities. I'm a union person, and being a developer, I've worked with a number of unions in the development of Stony Island Plaza 15 years ago at 95th and Stony. That's a very large, beautiful shopping center. So I hope I answered your question in those areas.
So the Ninth Ward has really two very distinct areas, north of 100th and south of 100th.
Yes.
They're very different, with
Yes.
very different challenges.
Yes.
North of 100th is much more affluent, and south of 100th is more desperate, needs a lot more help with jobs and development. But you're from north of 100th. How would you say that you would be able to adequately represent people south of 100th?
Everyone is very interested in quality of life issues. We believe that the entire Ninth Ward can be a great place to live and to raise a family. My father was an African American business owner. He owned a gas station at 87th Street, north side of the ward. We've worked he's had a motorcycle shop and bicycle shop, family owned, in the center of the ward. We've all had family that lives in Altgale Gardens, and I fell in love with Pullman when I was 11 years old. To answer your question, that we have great potential and ideas and great people throughout the entire ward. Golden Gate community needs streets. I had 250 community neighborhood watch signs specifically designed for Golden Gate community, another 250 to 500 for the Altgale Gardens area. Roseland received some. I did those before I was decided to run for aldermanship. It's a part of our violence prevention program in the wards. So Roseland Heights, Rosemore, Chesterfield, all of us received some portion or number of those neighborhood watch signs. They're beautiful and very informational, but we need to wrap our arms around the entire community. It's those among that have the least that I care for. I went to Quigley South Preparatory Seminary. That's the school that my pastor, Father Michael Flager, attended. And we think similar. It's wrapping your arms around people, loving people, and taking a tough stance when you need.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
You can learn more about the Michael LaFargue campaign and almost 200 others by subscribing to our email newsletter at aldertrack.com, by listening to this series on Rivet Radio, and by subscribing to our series on YouTube. Thank you very much. More great stuff to come.